All right. So, very special episode today. It's our look back in time at the 1993 Royal Rumble. JML, Charlie here. Um, took place on January  24th, 1993, Sacramento, California, the Arco Arena. Estimated attendance at 16,000 people. Um, so, sold out show. A little, Sacramento, even though it's the capital of California, it's probably the, you would probably want to book LA for such a big event now. Um, what did you notice right away, like from the opening of the show?
There weren't any opening packages back then. Um, Went straight to a live shot of the ring from afar, and you could see the crowd and all that. Uh, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan actually made every match on the card feel like there was that big match feel to them before they went on before the pay per view initially opened.
Yep. Um, yeah, like the commentators were given more, I guess, power to put over the matches. Um, the opening match of the show was the brothers Steiner versus the Beverly Brothers. How over were the Steiner brothers?
Completely over. And I noticed also back then, if you were a face, you got cheered. If you were a heel, you got booed. There was no tweeners on the whole night.
Yeah,
There was no cheering for the bad guys. There was no booing the good guys. It was just clean cut face heel.
yeah, no, exactly. Um, man, those two teams were just so physical too. Like
Yeah,
it was a hard hitting match. That Frankensteiner at the end,
knocked
it
him
looked like,
head
oh my god,
right on his head.
it looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Uh, Surprised there was no lawsuits involved.
The Beverly Brothers knew how to bring in the heat too.
They did. Uh, like I miss those tag teams that were just like packaged to be a tag team, not
Yeah.
a, you know, this singles guy and this singles guy come together and they're a team. I mean, we have a couple of those in WWE, but for the most part, it's thrown together singles guys that form a team. In WWE, like they would bring in a tag team as a tag team, like during this era. Um, yeah, I just I really liked the match. Um, the Steiners, to me, they were definitely when I first started watching wrestling. It was around this time. They were my favorite tag team by far. They were just my favorite tag team. Um, and you look back at their WWE run, they were only there for about a year and then they left. But they won the belts twice. Did WWE like squander the opportunity with the Steiners? Like, what do you think happened there?
I'm not sure because I officially started watching wrestling a year after this. Uh, to only be there for a year and win the belts twice, I mean, it doesn't sound like they squandered them much.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I'd have to go back and watch the other events from '93 and see.
then we have another match, which was they gave it enough time too. This Michaels Janetti match.
Yeah.
What stood out to you about this match as a whole?
Again, I started watching the next year. I didn't know that this was the match that the barbershop window was based around. So I also didn't know about Sherry taking that mirror hit to the face. Michaels being that scumbag heel that throws her in front of that and runs for his life. That was done great. What stood out in this match to me the most was the storytelling, and when they didn't know who Sherry was going to go to, and then she goes as if she's going to check up on Shawn Michaels, and then gives him the biggest bitch slap across the face. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's definitely a old school build, and part of the reason why it took so long, I think Marty was let go by WWF at the time after the barbershop window, because the barbershop window happened around the time of the 92 Royal Rumble, like right before the 92
Oh,
Rumble. So it took almost a year for them to finally have their singles match, and I think the fans were anticipating it. Um, and the crowd was just so into this. It was a very hot match, almost like main event level match.
he turned him inside out with that super kick too.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, you don't see feuds for an Intercontinental Championship like that.
Now,
I mean, you just have Gunther win the belt, like, and that's it.
could be a very dominant champ, but
Yeah. Um, this is around the time where, looking back, there was this ascension with HBK, and you go back and you read things. This is when, all of the wrestling magazines and newsletters were saying Shawn Michaels is the best in-ring competitor in the world. And at this time, he probably was, either 1A or 1B. And I just think that HBK as a whole, I mean, he's definitely one of the best. But I don't think Jannetty gets enough credit for being the worker that he was either.
people definitely overlook Jannetty and the skills that he had and look more towards the negative if he was the rocker that was left out and Shawn was booked as a monster afterwards and he was just left in the dust. But yeah, Jannetty can put together he can sure as hell put together great storytelling after that match.
Yeah. Um yeah, it was definitely a great match. Then we had Bam Bam Bigelow and Big Boss Man. This is pretty cookie cutter.
Generic big dudes strong match.
What did you notice about Big Boss Man? I'll tell you what I noticed about Big
Yeah.
Boss Man. That guy was so agile for his size.
So was Bigelow.
We know I don't like Bigelow.
You got to give him credit. He's agile.
Yes. This is around the time I think Bigelow returned to WWF. He had a cup of coffee the late 80s. Now they brought him back, and I think he would end up spending around 3 years in WWE before, he left to go to ECW and WCW. But, very cookie cutter. Not going to talk too much about it. Bigelow with the win. The main event match, other than the Rumble, WWE, WWF Championship, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Razor Ramon. Now, being a knowledgeable wrestling fan, and you didn't see this match before this, right?
No.
What did you think about this match, this build?
Very well put together. Very well. You were. It was Razor's first shot at the championship, and he was new.
Yep.
What did they say? 8 months in to his career.
He was pretty new on, I think, 3 months into the WWE.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even more impressive. Uh, they had magic together. They worked and had very great chemistry together in this match. Uh, what I liked is because I'm so used to watching recent WWE and my whole life watching WWE. Uh, they only needed one finisher apiece or one finisher attempt apiece in
Yeah.
this for it to be over. That actually shows the strength of what the finishing moves were back then. And like now, it takes 5 attitude adjustments for John Cena to beat a jobber. You know, like I Razor went for the Razor's Edge, and Brett weaseled out of it, and they were you tell how they got to the ground and that amazing sharpshooter.
Oh yeah, they just got to the ground and he just takes his legs and puts him in the sharpshooter. It commentary built it up like can he get the sharpshooter on him? And he gets him in clean on that sharpshooter. It just the commentary sold it. The vignettes before where you know uh Razor attacked Owen, and then they showed the clip from WWF Mania um, of
A show I never
Razor,
did.
yeah, of Razor in the Arco Arena, just being pimped out. Razor, like, I'm going to win the title, y'all. Like, it, man, they couldn't have picked at the time like the two like they were just so cool. Like both of them just were so cool. Like, uh,
I'll give Brett his due for once. He was cool.
the drip and Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, best working punches in the biz.
Yeah, those were solid.
Um, for me, this is one of Bret Hart's most underrated and underappreciated matches. Same with Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. It's a match that not a lot of people speak about. I wish more people would watch this match because it's an absolute clinic. Absolute clinic. They don't have to do dives. They don't have to do high spots. It was, working punches, focusing on a body part, and
Yep.
telling a story. We don't get that too often. Um, we did have the debut of Lex Luger that happened before that match with the little pose with the mirror.
Yep.
Um, man, Lex Luger, was he ever booked correctly? Ever?
No. They,
Um,
they were close at WrestleMania 10, but no.
I I kind of dug Luger at times, but then there's other times I'm like, man, I
Take
don't like him. Um, it would have been cool if Bobby Heenan stuck around and was actually like his manager.
Oh,
That would have worked.
they made it seem like he was going to be his manager.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. Um, and then this gimmick basically goes away when Hogan leaves, and he takes the Hogan spot as being the American hero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I think, looking back now, was the wrong choice because no one could have replaced Hogan that quickly.
That's fair.
Um, and then we actually have the Rumble match. What stood out to you about this Rumble match?
Um, the
I'll tell
Giant.
you one. I'll tell you one thing. Bob Backlund.
Oh, going the distance completely. Definitely.
Dude wasn't in on WWF television since I think it was like 6-7 years or something like that.
Yep.
And I guess they needed spots for this Rumble. And they called Backlund up and were like, "Hey, you want to come in the Rumble?" And he proceeds to last an hour in the Rumble match. So kudos to him.
Debut of Giant Gonzalez taking
Yeah.
out Undertaker.
So you could say what you want about Omos. No one was as bad as Giant Gonzalez.
No.
Rest in peace, Giant Gonzalez. But man, that dude could not move. He could not move. And then the ring gear. Oh my god.
It's an interesting choice of ring gear.
So
Oh,
bad.
Also, Mr. Perfect must have been the Daniel Bryan at that time, because when he got eliminated, everyone was pissed off.
You could tell that WWF was in a transitional phase at this time. You had guys like Damian Demento in the Rumble.
Max Moon.
Max Moon. Some international guys. Carlos Colon. Repo Man. They dusted off from somewhere. He made an appearance.
Yep.
But
Skinner the Alligator Man.
yeah. Yokozuna. How boss was this original first year Yokozuna?
He kicked ass. He was exactly what he was booked to be, a dominant, huge force in that Rumble.
Yeah. Basically just, what did he have? 7 eliminations. So he had the most. I think that was the most eliminations in a Rumble at that time. He came in at number 27. For me, it signified the transition. Him winning this Rumble.
Did you notice too, or was it just me, that you got Mr. Fuji waving the Japanese flag outside, and then Yokozuna at one point when he gets the hard cam put on him goes, Samoa!
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember at one point during the vignettes, they did say he was Samoan, but that kind of got peeled back in later stages of this character. But yeah, Yokozuna wins. And this was this was the first time the Rumble, the winner goes on to WrestleMania for the title match. So this is the first time they did that stipulation. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Because the previous year, the 92 Rumble, which is the greatest Royal Rumble of all time,
that was for the championship, right?
was for the championship.
Yeah.
So 93 was for the title shot at Mania. So WrestleMania 9 main event in Las Vegas, Caesar's Palace, Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. That's what we're gonna get at WrestleMania 9. What are your thoughts with the Rumble match overall?
Backlund going the distance, the Mr. Perfect telling a good story. The Rumble sold the purpose that it had to. I thought it was a solid Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't
Granted,
have the big.
there were a handful of jobber talent in it, but what Rumble doesn't have that?
Yeah, it didn't have the biggest names um, in the actual Rumble match. And surprisingly enough, they didn't ask some of these guys to work double duty,
Yeah,
like Shawn Michaels or Jannetty or Razor. Um, it would have been fun to see them in the Rumble. Um, for me, this Rumble is more of a mid-tier Rumble, but the standout for me is the two title matches, the Intercontinental and the WWF title. And then just what it signified, the changing of the guard, that they did a WrestleMania 9 main event of Yokozuna and Bret Hart, and that's what we were supposed to get. And we all know how WrestleMania 9 ended.
yep,
But at least they were giving it a chance going into the pay per view of WrestleMania 9 of having Bret Hart as our new, face of the company versus this monster heel of Yokozuna. In Yokozuna, I think he debuted in October, so the dude won a Royal Rumble within 3 or 4 months. It's unheard of.
oh wow,
That would have been like when Braun Breaker debuted in NXT, then he won the Royal Rumble.
yeah.
With that being said, is there any pay per view that you want to do next?
Um, do you want to go back to my first pay per view and do the next year's Royal Rumble?
94?
Yeah.
Sure. We'll do
Okay.
94. So that episode will drop within the next week or two. We'll schedule that one out. With that being said, we're gonna bid adieu for this episode. We do have the giveaway of the Macho Man Randy Savage Funko Pop with 200 subscriptions. We're not there yet, and we need 300 unique comments. So as soon as we get there, I will do a YouTube short with a randomizer that picks the winner, and you will get that for free. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any thoughts on the 93 Rumble or an episode you'd like to see us do, comment in the in the comment box down below. And that's it. Good night and good luck.